Good afternoon. I'm told when the music stops, it's time for us to start, and I just heard that amazing jazz stop, so we'll get underway. My name is Chris Henley from Veeam Software. I'm looking forward to a fun next 75 minutes talking to you about what I think are the 4 killer technologies that really makes Veeam competitive in the marketplace. Beside me is Matt Carpenter. Matt, you want to take a second and introduce yourself?
Sure. Matt Carpenter, I'm the Technical Director for Alliances at Veeam, so I handle a lot of our cloud technologies, including Microsoft. I'm also, I guess they call me an OG anymore. I've been with Veeam for about 10.5 years and started as the first architect when the company kind of started with the ground up. So I know from the ground up, I've seen a lot of growth with this company and excited to be here showing you what we got now.
7 years ago when Matt and I started at Veeam, well, Matt was already there for 3 and I started at Veeam, we were a small company that had just over 200 employees, and we did about $60 million in revenue during that year. We held our annual meeting of all of our employees in a hotel room in Alpharetta, Georgia. They had a conference center that was about, probably about the size of this room, I suppose, and all of the employees fit in there. We talked about what the future of our company might look like, and one of the key things that came about during the course of that meeting was this idea that we would develop innovative, disruptive technologies that would change the way that customers thought about the ideas of backup, replication, monitoring, restoration. Those 4 things specifically. So today I want to talk to you about those killer technologies from Veeam. Before we begin, how many of you actually use Veeam today? Wow, awesome. Apparently we've been reasonably successful in penetrating that market. I'm going to guess that many of you will know some of the technologies that we'll talk about today. Of course, we're going to introduce the new technologies to you that will emerge in our next release. I want to talk to you about 3 things first. The idea that data continues not just to grow, but it's not, it grows, and it grows in criticality, and it grows in where it resides. And we call those 3 types of growth: hypergrowth, which is just the data increasing in total size and amount; criticality, because our increasing dependence on data seems to drive more than just business decision making. It drives day-to-day operations. And then the idea behind hypersprawl, which is that our data continues to migrate to all kinds of different places. Matt and I were talking right before this session happened. Does anybody here have an Apple Watch? A couple of you in the room do. Those of you that have one, I'm told that your Apple Watch will monitor you and tell you you've been sitting too long. It's time to get up and move. You could use a break. It looks like you're stressed. The amount of data that's being generated and the amount of information that's being passed back to you through that simple device is exactly what we mean by hypersprawl. The data is moving to places like our wrist, large data centers, cloud-based data center environments, private data centers, our own personal devices, of which I'm assuming each of you have at least 4. That would include phones, televisions, laptops, desktops, and other. All of that data demands that we manage it some way. At Veeam, we're in the business of availability. Our founder, Ratmir Timashev, likes to say that our big, hairy, audacious goal is to become the world's largest data management company. That's different than what we think about Veeam. We usually think about Veeam in terms of backup and restore operations, but as a company, we think directly about what we're doing to make data available anywhere, anytime, on any device, and under any circumstances. When we think about data, we have to think about something called the 5 stages of intelligent data management. And those stages are simple and easy for us to understand. We break them down into 2 categories. The first 3 are policy-based categories. They're the things that you already know about. They're backup, their aggregation, and their visibility. I want to talk just for 2 seconds about each of them. Backup is just what it says. Everyone can make a great backup. Microsoft even builds an SDK to help you do it. Aggregation is what we do and where we do that with the data. Visibility is an ability to see what's where and how we might access it. Moving beyond that, in the future, we'll move to much more orchestrated and automated uses for availability in our data. Now, the difference between orchestration and automation, it's subtle, but it's incredibly important. Orchestration are the things that you can conceive of that would happen with your data, and then the things that you will do if the things you conceive of occur. So, for example, if a ransomware attack occurs in my network, then I will take the following key network workloads or key workloads. I'll ensure that I have secure backup copies of those. I'll isolate them. I'll duplicate those, and then we'll bring my network back online. That's orchestration. Automation is uniquely different because automation is an integrated function within the workloads themselves so that the workloads monitor what's happening, identify things that are out of the range of what we would consider normal, and then determine what to do about them. They're not orchestrated responses. They're intelligent responses that have been automated. We'll call those behavior-based approaches to data. Today, most of our customers are actually in late stage 2, early stage 3, aggregation and visibility, and a lot of our products and features are focused in that area. We'll continue to develop and evolve disruptive technologies that will move us through orchestration and into fully automated or artificially intelligent environments for data management. I probably just gave you way more business value than you wanted. I realize we're at Ignite and you're here for a technical conversation, and that's where we'll go from here on. At Veeam, we have a hyper-availability platform, and that platform operates based on the fact that many of our customers' data resides, to begin with, in an on-premises network-style environment. That on-premises environment makes use of things like backup and recovery tools, replication and failover tools that Veeam has built and continues to build. We're trying to drive innovation into that space. Some of those innovations are things that you've asked for, like the addition of universal APIs. Some of those are innovations that our development teams have asked for, like the development of data labs, which we'll talk about today, and the ability to do advanced data restoration operations using Veeam. Things like adding security to a restore operation. Things like being able to structure restore operations and pick and choose what's going to be restored based on a set of criteria or values that you define. Those are things that can happen today. We add things like visibility and monitoring so that you can actually have access to and an understanding of what workloads are where. And Matt's going to show you in a demonstration today how Veeam has taken that to the next level. You'll use Veeam backup and replication tools to gain access to backups that are on premises, in software as a service applications, in managed cloud environments, or in public cloud environments. You have the ability to open a single interface, have access to and see and do whatever it is that you need with that data regardless of where it resides. The thing that we'll talk about today that is a big highlight when it comes to this ability to have strong visibility across multi-platform environments. You've asked for quite a while now for us to have a great solution for object storage in Microsoft Azure. We'll introduce that to you today. When we think about moving into a cloud-based environment, it's really important that we think about where we will go in a public cloud world. I love Microsoft Azure. I worked at Microsoft for almost 9 years before I came here to Veeam 7 years ago. I came to Veeam because the Veeam team was going to build great solutions for Microsoft Azure. They understood 7 years ago what hopefully you all understand now. Microsoft Azure's infrastructure is so large, so dominant, and so innovative in the space that we could effectively say the cloud game is really over. It's really now just a focus on getting customers to the appropriate clouds. We will support IBM Cloud, Azure Cloud, Alibaba, etc. But it is clear that Microsoft Azure will be the key player in that space. And so when we talk about working with Azure and working with Veeam, we'll introduce you to some of the key solutions from an Azure and Veeam perspective. We have 4 key concepts that we'll talk about today. We'll talk about extending the data center to Azure. That includes things like moving your archives to Azure. We'll talk to you in great detail about how to go about the process of building in functionality for data center style operations, specifically operations like moving your on-premises backup archives into Microsoft Azure, using different types of Azure storage to make those archives accessible to you. We'll talk in great detail today about what the process might look like for creating something called scale-out backup repositories. We'll introduce you to the ideas around leveraging Azure for robo data storage environments, remote office and branch office, to do things like backup and restoration into Azure environments. We'll talk about backing up and restoring anything to Azure. The idea here is we want to be able to get to a point where our Azure environment is an extension of our on-premises environment, and our on-premises environment is an extension of our Azure environment. And we'll use the two to migrate or move data interchangeably. Last but not least, software as a service is incredibly important, and so we're going to talk about controlling and protecting Office 365 data from an Azure environment using Veeam. So where exactly are we right now? Today, from a business perspective, Veeam's got innovative products, great market disruption. We're knocking on the door of our first $1 billion in revenue sales year. Our customers now exceed 300,000 worldwide. We protect somewhere northward of 17 million virtual machines, an additional several million physical machines. We protect machines on premises, in managed cloud environments, in Microsoft Azure, and protect the data associated with Office 365. If you walk away with nothing else from this session, please walk away knowing that we have just begun working with Azure. We have so many things that we want to do. Some examples. Agent management is now generally available. You can now manage agent operations for infrastructure as a service applications running in Microsoft Azure through the same Veeam console that you would use to manage those workloads if they were running on premises. Universal Storage API, it's generally available. You can pick it up and use it. Archive tier storage for object storage is also on the cusp of availability. I say will be available this year. You may get a great Christmas present from us. NAS storage protection. That'll be available in our next release upcoming. Continuous data protection, also coming in our next release. We're looking forward and continuing to innovate because we think the opportunities in an Azure environment will be significant. I do not have time to discuss each of these in detail with you, and I'm not going to. I'll pick and highlight a couple of them for you. These are recent milestones that we've reached since Q4 of 2017, so milestones within the last 9 months. You'll notice the list is long. I'll give you some highlights. 9 months ago, we released Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365 version 1.5. We changed the way that we manage infrastructure and operations to make that scalable for those of you that have environments greater than 10,000 seats. You'll notice one of the options there in Q3 of 28, Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365 version 2. We waited 9 months to make our first major update to that piece of software. Added full functionality for not just the Exchange pieces, but all of the pieces of Office 365. So you can protect the SharePoint side as well as the OneDrive side in an O365 environment.
And a piece of history on that one, which I really like, is when we look at Veeam Backup 1.0, so that was in 2008, we went from a 1.0 version to a 2.0 version within 6 months. A 2.0 version to a 3.0 version within a year. When we have new technologies at Veeam, we move very, very quickly. Obviously, you look, we've got 9.5, update 1, 2, 3, and we'll talk about 4 today. But these are very robust products across our thing. As we look at our newer products and some of our newer features, it's amazing how quickly we move. And I'm going to show you a couple things today, but I wanted to point that out. A V1 within 9 months and a V2, it's still not as fast as the original one, but we're still getting there.
Yep. Our development teams are hard at work and continue to innovate things that I think will change our industry. We'll talk about one of them. Well, let's talk about it right now, shall we?
Okay.
We're going to talk Veeam Cloud Archive first. Veeam Cloud Archive is the idea behind object storage and using objects and object storage as a method to increase ability for a customer to manage availability of data. Now, when we talk about this idea of an archive tier feature is going to come in the form of something called a scale-out backup repository. How many of you have waited for object storage support from Veeam for more than a year? Oh, there's not so many of you in this. We thought we would have this done almost 2 years ago. And as we started down the process of developing the solution, it became abundantly clear that the solutions that were in the marketplace at the time weren't going to be effective. And so our development team pulled back, restructured, built this from scratch effectively, and built a solution that we think will change the industry and change the way that you use them. So what exactly happens and how exactly does it work? Well, depending on how your environment operates, you might use direct storage, you might use a NAS, you might use a dedupe appliance. All of those give you the capability effectively to move data into Microsoft Azure. In the past, many of our customers used appliance-based solutions to build connectivity from on-premises environments into Azure environments. Tools like StoreSimple, for example, or the old NetApp AltaVault. Other virtual appliances also could do the same thing. The problem with all of those was that you had to buy the appliance, and then you had to maintain and operate the appliance. We heard from our customers, from all of you, that you wanted something that was direct. The way that we will offer that, Veeam will use something called the Scale-Out Backup Repository. The Scale-Out Backup Repository effectively will take all of the data that you will provide in terms of archives, backups, other Veeam files, take that data and let you age that data. And once it's reached its aging requirements, we'll move to Microsoft Azure to an object store. Now, the cool thing about object stores is they're cheap. There's something called ingress cost associated with working with object storage. And the ingress cost for object storage is really low. When we compare it side by side to what a customer would get from something like page blob storage or direct attached storage to a virtual machine, the ingress cost for object storage is incredibly low. The challenge with it is that the customer is only comparing the data at ingress. They're not comparing what it costs to actually restore. So when a customer goes to do a restore of data that happens to be stored in page blob storage or direct attached storage to an Azure VM, there's no additional cost because they already paid it up front. When they move to an object storage environment, there's something called egress cost associated with recovering the data. Because object storage is different than a traditional file level system, the customer is left withdrawing everything from that object. So if Matt, for example, creates a demonstration and he sends up 16 gigabyte chunks to an object store in Microsoft Azure, and then his CEO comes to him and says, hey, I lost a file, it got deleted, I need you to get it back for me. And Matt says, what is it? He says, oh, it's a couple of Excel spreadsheets. Matt finds them, they're 20K a piece. In a traditional Azure object storage environment, Matt has to take the whole 16 gigs in order to get the file back, and he has to pay the egress costs on all 16. Our developers said there has to be a better way. And the solution that they developed, this concept of Veeam Cloud Archive, addresses that solution. Here's how it works. So in a Veeam Cloud Archive environment, we're actually going to use some extent containers. We're going to keep the information about the data that we send up to Microsoft Azure's object storage. And that information, or those containers, will have a shell of the metadata associated with that file system information. By size, we're talking about something that's maybe 30% of the size of the whole. Now, the beauty of having the metadata is that the metadata keeps track of what used to be in the file system. As we move the data into Microsoft Azure, Azure now has all of the objects in archive. When it comes time for us to recover, in this case, a couple of small Excel files out of those archives, because I have the metadata on premises, I can look at the metadata, identify just the individual items that I want out of that object store, and I can pull 40K's worth of files instead of 16 gigs worth of files, and I can pay for 40K's worth of egress. Does that make sense? Would you like to see it? Matt?
My turn.
It's your turn.
You can take a break.
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and put this one on here. Awesome. So where we start out is a lot of you raised your hand being Veeam customers, so you're very familiar with this interface. It comes in green or blue now. That was a big day for us when we redid the UI. I saw it because now I can tell what's on-prem and what's not on-prem. So we walk into the infrastructure to start with. You will notice that I've got an Azure Stack backup job, a Hyper-V backup job, some off-stamp Azure Stack jobs, some VMware backup jobs. There's two things I just said there that are a little more interesting than the other. The Azure Stack backup job and the off-stamp Azure Stack backup job. I'll also be going over what we do support for Azure Stack. So with all the blob items, the direct restore to Microsoft Azure, all those work together, including Azure Stack. And actually this environment, I timed out and you have my password, but I'm running this off of Azure Stack. So my environment within Veeam is Azure Stack, primarily because I'm a technical person and no one else understands Azure Stack yet within my company, so it's all mine. It's fantastic. So it makes it a very quick environment to demo from, and work on these solutions with Microsoft on. The first thing I want to show you is where we start, and that's with cloud credentials. So with Veeam before, we do have direct restore to Azure. That's in GA right now, and we call those compute accounts. The addition, what we're adding now, is a storage account. I'm going to go ahead and add an account, Azure Storage account, and it's looking for an account and a shared key. There is a secondary reason why I am in Azure Stack today, because publicly, I'm not going to put that up there. So this is going to be Ignite demo. That's my bucket. And the shared key is this giant. Glad I brought a mouse today.
You didn't memorize that?
Not today. There's too much going on. Let's go ahead and paste that in there. Maybe. I hate when I do that. This is a live demo of beta code, beta 1 code, which means I live very cautiously. All right, quickly enough, I just hit OK, and that's in there now. So I have an Azure Storage account. Now what that means is I have a whole cache of them. So I have a couple different ones. I have one in public Azure. I have one in a couple regional Azure accounts. I have one in Azure Stack. No matter where those accounts originate from, I can put in different credentials for them. I'm going to go hit OK. Now's the fun part. Let's go to the backup infrastructure itself. So within here, I have a couple accounts, but I'm going to start with my archive repositories. This is what we consider the blob piece of it. We went and talked about how it's called archive tier as an extent of our scale-up backup repositories, or SOBR. These are the archive repositories themselves. So what I'm going to do is say add archive repository. We've got our different pieces. Let's go ahead and do Ignite today. The account is just what I put in. I put in the Ignite demo. My region, this is where I go either global, China, Germany, or Azure Stack. So I go ahead, I'm going to add an Azure Stack since that's where we came from. And then I'm going to pick a container. So it's going to go ahead and look at my environment, that storage account, and see what containers I have within it. So this is where, there we go. And now it has a container, Veeam backups. Within my storage account, if I had multiple containers, it would all display here. Every time we look at these credentials, it'll actually take a look and say what's in that account. From here, we're going to go ahead and look at folders. If you have a folder within that container, you can go ahead and select it, or you can create a new one. I'm going to create a new one and call it backup 2, makes sense. Hit OK. Next, and then it's going to go ahead and save that archive repository to configuration. Now, like I said before, this could be, I'm actually doing Azure Stack in this environment. You can do public Azure, regional Azure. But it makes it interesting because when we look at what we target as end users, we can go to a public Azure site. Maybe we have data sovereignty issues where we can't do that, but we have a service provider that we work with, or I am a service provider, and I want to provide blob storage in country to my customers. Having the support for both Azure Stack and proper Azure, I guess it's public Azure. Proper Azure is an older term that I'm used to, but having those in 2 different locations really helps out. So I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. Now you'll see that I have an archive repository called Ignite. Now one of the things I can do is put this in maintenance mode. Maybe you had a backup instance go down, or you want to move it to a different backup instance. When Chris talked about that metadata that sits on-prem, and I'll show you what that looks like, if for some reason we lose our backup console on-prem, we can reconstitute it. We can actually import these back in. We can designate where they actually located, the properties, put it into a maintenance mode. This maintenance mode might come in very handy for something like, I want to go ahead and seed to another device that has an Azure API that ends with box and starts with data. We're looking at how we would support that right now. That means you could seed some of this possibly. Again, we're in beta 1, so everything has an asterisk, and you'll see that many times through it. But I want to make sure you guys are looking at the latest and greatest and what I'm thinking about as we go through these products. So now I have my archive repository actually in the console itself. I'm going to go up and look at my backup repositories. Almost everybody raised their hand. You know this inside and out. This wizard is nothing new. So I'm going to go back repository. Let's go Sober 3. Every time I type, I get a lot louder. Then we can add in a Windows server, Linux server, shared folder, deduplicating storage appliance. For this, we're doing a Windows server because I'm going to do some local stuff. This server that I'm sitting on right now has plenty of space. So I'm going to go path to folder. I think I created one. Let's see if I have one. If not, I'll go in and create another one. Yep, Sober 3. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one. I could populate it if I want to. Connections. We're not going to use a mount server today. And I'm going to go ahead. Everything should already be there. Review and finish. When you use a product enough, I'm sure, which a lot of you do, you know exactly what's coming in the next couple of menus because you just see it and you're just waiting on it. I do this every day. So we go finish now my Server 3 repository. Now it's time to combine that repository with my cloud repository. That's what Chris talked about, tiering your data into Azure based on either a time-bound policy or a capacity-based policy. So what we're going to do is go to the scale-out repository, right-click, add a scale-out repository. We're just going to call it 3. Makes sense. Extents, I'm going to go add a silver repository I just created. If everybody remembers, you cannot use a repository with a backup job attached to it. You have to use one that is new without a backup job. That one gets me most of the time, even though I know exactly what to expect. Policy, I'm going to keep data locality. Now comes the fun part, archive tier. Move backup files to cheaper storage as they age out of operational restore windows. So for this one, I've created my Ignite. If the others were in maintenance mode or not assigned to other Sober repositories, they would be all available there, here. I can also encrypt my archive backups, manage the passwords. But the fun part is move all backup files older than 30 days out to your repository. So this means after 30 days, if I have a sealed backup chain, meaning a full VBK, all the incrementals, as soon as I do another VBK, either that being by synthetically created or a full from the environment, that becomes a sealed backup set. That means we can start having some fun with it. At that point, it's going to take that block by block, typically 1 megabyte blocks, and move it up to Azure based on this policy. Now, maybe I want to do something shorter than 30 days, longer than 30 days. It's pretty easy to see there's an up arrow and a down arrow. But the fun part becomes when I say 0. So that means immediately once that's sealed, move it up. Now, the other piece is, I'm going to go back to 30 for this one. I can override this setting. Meaning that if I have capacity, I've got a repository sitting there, maybe I have a NetApp file or Cisco S3260, or I work in alliances, so I try to get every device possible, otherwise one of them gets mad. So we'll go through and have our device. I don't want it to go over 60% capacity. If it does, then I run into problems. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and click on this, say 60%. So that means either it's 30 days old or my repository is at 60% capacity. It will start moving stuff into Azure. Now, obviously, if I have one pipe up into Azure, I don't want to use it and saturate it right off the bat, so I can select my window saying, at night from a certain window or certain days or just weekends. This works similarly to a lot of our cloud backup items. I'm going to keep it full right now. Hit apply, it's going to save it, it's going to put everything together and create that repository. At this point, we sit here and we watch it spin for a second. I don't have any really good jokes right now, do you?
Last week was Pirate Week, right?
Yeah, that's
I'm just kidding.
That's too easy.
Yep. It'll finish so fast, it doesn't matter. It's interesting that we get to this because one of the things our customers will traditionally say to me, I just installed Veeam. It took 15 minutes. Something must have gone wrong. And we say no. And in this case, we just created multiple components of a scale-out backup repository chain, and we're unhappy that it took 20 seconds to complete.
We get really impatient.
We have a patience problem.
You're like going quick. All right, so what that does now is if I go into my inventory, you'll see that I have my repository. I can go modify it. I already have one that's for public Azure. I have one that's for Azure Stack, and I've already had backups going to it, which is great. So if I go back to home, I can go to my disks. I have a couple of backups. I have one that's off stamp going to Cloud Connect. I have a couple, because that's still a great option. And then I have one going to Azure Stack and one going to public Azure. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this one and go to Properties. What you'll see in the Properties is within this folder right here, I've got my backup files. Obviously, I've got my full. And I said I want everything else to go into Azure. I'm doing a lot of full backups here. The creative department will get a hold of this. Again, this is beta 1, which means, again, I'm showing you beta 1 code, so I want to make sure you're up to date. Beta 2 will launch sometime this week or next, so you'll be able to get a hold of it when talking to your engineer. Right now we have a question mark. We're going to have a really cool cloud graphic, I think, hopefully. So what this means is it is in cloud, but when I actually look at this on disk, if I actually can click on it, and obviously it's going a little slower than I am. B. You'll notice that I have a couple of these that are only 30 megabytes. When Chris talked about those, you said what?
Extents.
You said extents. We call them stubs.
Yeah,
we call them pointers. We're still working on the early stuff and how we explain it. But basically, it's going to be that metadata that's the shell. There we go, shell.
Shell's the best word.
That's what we use today.
Yep.
So these are the shells. So it's only 30 meg on-prem, but we're actually looking at anywhere from 1 to 20 gigabyte in cloud. And I have a lot of pieces on this one. So that's what we did want to show you on this. The other piece I want to show you is if I go into here, let's go ahead and do restore guest files and Windows. So I'm going to the Azure Stack one. I want to make sure everybody knows that one does work. So I'll go to, obviously I know a longer time ago was when it actually was in the object storage. So I'm going to go ahead and finish. This works just like your file level recovery you're used to. Go ahead and right-click it, pick your restore point. It's up there. So being used to the Veeam interface already, you're already way ahead of the game because we're not changing too much about it. It'll start the restore session back to the, if it takes more than 10 seconds, we get impatient.
Yes, there it is again.
And we just sit there and stare at it moving around. I'm glad we moved from the circle to the square. I like the square.
So Matt, it's interesting, you talk about sizes on those shells, and I may have calculated the math way wrong in my mind. I think that's 0.3%, not 30%.
Yeah, 0.3.
Thank you. I might have told you 30. If I did, please apologize. We'll blame it on lack of sleep and hunger.
Or both.
Or both.
So I'm going to go in and go to my downloads, and I'm sure this is my Veeam 1 box, which is a great product. Check it out. So I have a license file that's 1.4 kilobytes. I want to go ahead and right-click on that one, restore. Actually, I want to copy it to the desktop. And it's done. So it's gone in there really quickly. And everybody goes, okay, well, it's Azure Stack. You're in Azure Stack. That makes it super quick. Let me go ahead and close this out. Again, it is there. Let's go ahead and delete it. Let's go back in the interface. Now, this one you saw was in Azure Stack. This one's in public Azure. So in Alpharetta is where we have one of our data centers, and this is where my lab sits. Alpharetta, Georgia, the same place we had one of the original meetings. It was in the Embassy Suites in Columbus when I started. We had all 12 of us in the room. It was fantastic. Wow. When we look at it, this one's actually in Azure, so I'm going to do the same thing, restore guest files, go back to Windows. I'll go to, let's go 6 days ago, because I showed you that these aren't on-prem. These are actually in Azure itself. Go ahead and finish. And it'll pop up my wizard for me. There it is. All right, starting a restore session. So anytime I show this, the first time I show it, everybody goes, you know, it's Azure Stack. It's literally, it's right next to it. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's 1 gig, 2 gig. Might take a little time, but you're not pulling that same file out any quicker. And when we talk about having to reconstitute that entire backup file from Cloud Archive, getting the egress charges, taking the time to do it, that's where we run into issues. All right, so now I got the same scenario, except this one's in Azure. Go my Veeam user, downloads. I'm not very creative, so I use stock items. Let's go to copy to desktop, done. Huh. That means we went up into Azure, said this was deleted, knew that we only had 1 megabyte block we had to pull down, pulled it down, and it was here. The other cool thing that we do, and this is something, actually Chris learned today, we were talking about it at lunch, and it's kind of neat. So we look at data patterns and what data looks like in our archives. So I'm not going, I need this file, I need to go up to Azure and do a query for this file within my metadata and find it. I say it's different when you look at object storage. because every piece of data has a shape, has a size, has a characteristic to it. Instead of actually looking for the .license file or text within the name or attributes of that file that sits on NTFS, we're looking at what that shape looks like. And if we can only find a piece of it and we see something else that'll work together, we'll put it together. At 1.4 kilobytes, not much to put together, but if you go to 3 or 4 megabytes, we might have 2 or 3 of that data shape on-prem, and we might have the rest, so we'll put those together. That's what really makes us unique. And this is, from a science level, it makes sense.
Well, and if I understand what you're saying here, again, you're increasing performance on restore and decreasing cost on egress.
Absolutely.
Cool
So that's the big piece. And data shapes, you know, everybody talks about next-gen AI, next-gen cloud. You know, knowing that within our own product, the data shapes actually started. So when we actually put things into Azure, we're using similar to the same file format we created about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So this has been under the hood. We don't really talk about it much. It really makes a lot more sense here. But this has been under the hood and how Veeam's been so quick for all of our restores, our instant recoveries, our labs, all these different pieces for quite some time.
Now, Matt, question for you. I'm assuming many of them are thinking of it. You mentioned it. This data is going into that object store, and as we put it into the store, it's being deduplicated. I heard you say rehydration.
Yes.
It's also being compressed. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So we're saving on the ingress charge by compressing and deduping the data, so we get front-end and back-end savings for the customer.
Yep, absolutely. And so there's one other piece. We put in there because this is still the market for the last 2 years. It says bring everything back on-prem to your restores there. It'll be quicker. Obviously, if you're trying to do an instant VM recovery from something in the cloud, you're going to have some latency. So we did put a feature back into our product that appeases the legacy thinking of how you do object storage. And I say that because the way we do it, there's a reason we do it this way. But if I need to, I can go back into my restore points, hit properties, and I can rehydrate any restore point. When I rehydrate it, I can either do just this backup and dependencies, if it's a full, just this backup. And even on rehydration, what we're going to do is look at those data shapes that are on-prem and say, do those data shapes actually match anything that we already have up there? So even if I'm saying rehydrate, I'm still not pulling all the data back down. I'm only pulling the data shapes, and this is very key, data shapes that I think are necessary to bring it back down. So even though I'm rehydrating the entire backup, I'm still only bringing probably 40 to 50% of that backup back on-prem.
Neat concept. Any questions? One in the back.
So when we look at the compression and dedupe, it's going to be very similar to what you're getting on-prem. So if I look at those, the compression and dedupe actually happens when we look at these data types. Let me actually pull. I was just there. Let's see if I saved it. When that backup chain before it actually gets pushed up into Azure, you're going to see it as your VBKs and your incremental files on-prem. That data set is going to be the size of data set you're going to see in Azure. So when we do dedupe and compression, it's just like it is on disk. But as soon as it moves up into Azure, that's when you get these shells and you reclaim that space on-prem. So if you've been running backups for the last 2 months or 6 months and you want to say how much space do I need, look at your archive points. And this also does work with the Veeam backup copy job. So if I'm doing keep a month or keep every week, keep one backup, every month keep one, that retention policy with the backup copy jobs, that's going to apply the same way in Azure.
Excellent.
So what I'm going to do now is, like I did the demo, we go back and forth. We just go at it and then switch when we run out of gas. So I'm going to go back to Chris and let him talk about a couple more cool things.
So let's chat innovations in Restore for a minute. The stuff that you're seeing from an object storage perspective is exceptional. We're going to continue to build innovations in Restore operations. I want to go through some of those with you. Let's talk about one called Staged Restore. In a staged restore environment, the idea here is we want to be able to provide capability for you to provide data management before the data actually goes back into production. So for example, maybe you actually want to run through a data deletion task like this one. Here's John Smith. He's interested in purchasing a house in October 2017. He registers all of his information detail into a construction company database. The construction company, of course, makes a backup of the database, including all of his contact information. We go in and we verify the backup job using SureBackup. The construction company database continues its production. Everything runs smoothly until now. Then, for some reason, we have a crash, and that crash is going to require recovery. We power on the machine in an isolated data lab environment. We inject a simple script in there because we know that John's data is no longer necessary. His house is built. His personal information is something that we don't need, and he probably doesn't want to be recovered. We'll take John Smith's data using a script, remove it, and then continue with the process of data restore. So a company has the ability to maintain, in this case, personal information. They have the ability to effectively stage any restore and use that stage restoration process to decide what data will come back in the event of a restore and what will not. That concept kind of leads us, and hopefully you started to think about it already. Well, if I could do that with deciding what data comes back and what doesn't, what if the data that I didn't want to come back was malicious code? Is it possible to take a signature file, for example, for a malicious piece of code, use a stage-style restore, and prevent infected code from being restored during the process of a traditional Veeam restore? And the answer is yes. We call the process secure restore. It allows us to take a step-by-step approach to recovery and can eliminate simple things like, here we give you an example of how to do a secure restore without re-exploitation on a zero-day attack. So in this case, when we go through the process of restore, we go through the traditional backup, but when we get to our Windows of vulnerability stage, we can actually check attacks, we can check signature files, we can clean files. So in the event that maybe you only have one copy of a piece of backup data, you want to retain that data, you want to restore that data, but you know it is infected data, we can actually clean the data before it's restored. So Secure Restore gives us a lot of options that allow us to isolate the environment, clean the data, sanitize it, then build restore operations in. Matt, when do we see this? Is this like 5 years from now?
So this will be an update 4. It'll be something I show you today, and actual wizards of how this is done.
That's kind of cool. Let's talk about data labs for just a minute. Data Lab Secure Restore. This is an optional part of the restore process. You can pick and choose to use it. Really, this idea of Data Labs Secure Restore simply allows us to take a restore point, mount the restored disks from a backup file directly to the server. Then I can run things like my AV scans, I can check mounted volumes. If there's no issues found, I can just run the straight restore back to the environment where I want them to operate. If there is an infection that's actually found with Data Labs, I can restore in a couple of different ways. I can choose not to continue the restoration. I can choose to continue the restore but put it in an isolated network environment, no network connectivity. So I effectively have an air-gapped operating solution and I can test further or work further with that machine. I can also just simply abort the recovery and say, you know what, it's got infection, I'll take another backup and we'll fix from there. But my options are significant. All of this, again, done through a Data Labs environment, so I'm isolated from my production environment and able to do all of this without fear of its impact on my organization. Let's talk about Veeam Cloud Mobility. Everybody talks about, and I introduced the idea to you, that we're going to move data back and forth between an on-premises environment and an Azure environment. We jump over a glaringly needed set of opportunities from the software perspective. Someone is going to have to manage the movement of the data between the on-premises environment and the Azure environment. And there are lots of options out there in the marketplace. We'd like to spend a few minutes and talk to you about what Veeam does for those. When we think about moving workloads, there's kind of a couple of different options for how this might come about. Sometimes we move workloads out of a nice long set of planning. Sometimes we move workloads because there's an archive in Microsoft Azure and we realize by accident, hey, I could restore this to Microsoft Azure and not have to restore it back to on-premises. Sometimes we migrate workloads because we have an emergency. Matt, talk a little bit about the idea of Veeam backup and replication with planned and unplanned migrations.
Yep. So this is a concept of, when you think about it, I think of migrations in two different ways. Obviously, there's planned. There's some type of initiative to say, these workloads are going up. I've got 15 VMs. They need to go to Azure today. OK, we go through the process. We migrate them up there. There is the unplanned migrations in which you have a VM go down, and you have to restore it, but you don't have that on-premises infrastructure anymore. And that is actually going into Azure to get that workload up and running. I also see, if you think of it as a Venn diagram, there is a crossover of those two. And there's a lot of different ways to look at migrations. And I've done it throughout my history a couple times. From Opalus days to VMware Hyper-V to physical to virtual. The Venn diagram is, I have an overall policy at my company that I'm going to only restore into Azure. Any environment or anything I'm going to build moving forward is going to be built in Azure. It's going to be restored in Azure. But I'm not going to go ahead and wholesale my entire environment and say, let's move everything up today. As data is needed, so that means that as I'm going through, something goes down, I have to restore it. I have an overarching policy of migration. Now, it's not an immediate migration. This one's unplanned, but it still fits into my picture. So now I'm moving workloads into Azure based on a plan, scripted out. I'm moving them because I have to, I didn't think about it. And then I am moving them because I do need my workload up right now, but I have an overarching plan to migrate to Azure. All three of those models we enable because being from the backup and replication piece, being able to restore into Azure or Azure Stack or other locations, that gives me the options to move that data around. And we're migrating it, which also looks, it's the data mobility.
So this has got to cost me a ton of money, right? If I'm a business and I want to move my virtual machine workloads from on-premises into Microsoft Azure, there's got to be a huge cost, right?
So at that point, we look at it and they say, all right, so yeah, either have an existing investment, it's going to be a ton of money. But if you look on here, we've got Veeam Backup and Replication Restore to Azure. It's built in. We also have Veeam Backup Free Edition and Veeam Agent for Windows. So that Free Edition does include Azure, so you can go ahead and move workloads up into it. A lot of time we do see it's already licensed, you're already backing something up, and that's where that policy comes in. But maybe you have a site now where it's a brand new physical site, you don't have Veeam yet, you can go ahead and move this into Azure, and then you can put one of our Veeam agents for the cloud protection on it. So we have a lot of options from free to what you already have in play.
Let's go and see this. Again, I think it's effective to see it in demonstration rather than just simply talk about it. And I know Matt can demo it better than anyone.
All right.
No pressure.
Yeah, you know me too well. All right, so we're going to go in, and first thing you have to do, when I talked earlier, we have these storage accounts and we have these compute accounts. We need to add in a compute account. And what that means is we're going to go back to our trusty old managed cloud credentials. We're going to go up here and say add Azure Compute Account. So from here, we can go ahead and say environment type. Now, I'm either restoring to Azure Stack or Microsoft Azure. In this, I want to actually create an account for my Azure account itself. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I don't have a cap. I can either say existing user, or I can go configure account. So what you'll notice right now is it pops up that friendly menu to log into Azure. So I'll go ahead and type Carpenter. Hopefully we can get this piece right. I'm going to click Next. And what you'll notice is how we've integrated into it. It gives me personal or work and school. So now I'm going to go out of Azure. So we've also integrated with this, and we're going to go to Veeam sign-in. So this is my SAML. That means we have, obviously, 4 Veeam employees only. Here's the hard part. We'll find out if I got that right in about 2 seconds. No failure. Good. Yes. Passwords. So we're going to go ahead and import that in here. And now, again, I think 5 times throughout the entire presentation today, we're going to go through these awkward scenarios where we really want it done right now.
Just gone 5 pirate jokes, and it would have been good.
Yeah, you could have had that one.
You know, pirates, they oftentimes don't finish kindergarten. Do you know why?
Mm-mm.
They can't memorize the alphabet. They always get stuck at a letter.
No.
No, it's not R. They get lost at C.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I got you. You thought it was R for sure, didn't you?
We just talked about how every joke earlier is an R joke.
That's right.
Because I went, R.
Yeah, for 30 seconds, it was worth it. Lost at sea. When you repeat that joke later. Question in the back while we're pausing.
Remember the difference again, what Azure Stack is versus, say, public Azure? I don't know what the differences are.
Yep, so what I showed you right now is when I log into a public Azure account, it's going to ask me to put in my credentials associated to my Azure. That works for regional government in China also. If I select Azure Stack, what the next question it's going to ask me is my endpoint. Because the way Azure Stack works, obviously it's on-prem, and you're going to see a suffix added to it with your Azure Stack instance. So like I have the development kit, so I'll have like cloudapp.local.azureStack.infrastructure. If you're looking at it for public Azure, those are kind of already embedded in there. We don't have to put those in there. So when we select Azure Stack, if you get it from one of the OEMs, each of them are going to have a different implementation. So it's typically going to be your domain or your anything registered from your account. From here, I've got my account now. There is an enable restore Linux-based computers. If I select that, we're going to have an appliance that's a small Linux appliance actually go up in your Azure account to help with restorations of those. Obviously, when we look at up until recently, which I thought was awesome, having Linux in Azure, there wasn't a lot of Linux going on in Azure. So we were helping out a little bit. For this, I'm going to go ahead and hit Finish. Now that is actually in there, and I can use it. Go ahead and click OK. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and restore. Let's see. We can go to Restore to Azure Stack or Azure. We'll start the Restore to Azure. Obviously, I have 23 minutes, 35, 34, 33. Yeah, OK. So I'm going to go and Restore to Azure, and at least start the process to walk you guys through it. So I'm going to go to my sponsorship. I have a couple accounts. I have my Veeam Labs admin. I've got my account. I've got my Veeam Stack admin. Veeam Stack is my Azure Stack. If I select that, it's going to let me go back to Azure Stack. For this one, I'm going to actually go to the Veeam Labs admin. Actually, why not? I'll tag it. That way I can clean it up later. We can go to any of the regions, obviously available in public Azure. I'm going to go ahead and do US East. Go next. From here, it's going to go ahead and say, from my account, what do I have permission to do? And so I'm going to go ahead and say VM size. It'll query it, have that populated. I'm going to go to my D2V3. Let's not make it too big. I'm going to use a storage account that I already got in there. Select Next. Now I can do a resource group. So I'm going to go ahead and click Group. Let's see. Dustin Albertson, actually, I do one cloud, he does the other cloud. But it's always entertaining that he's always in my stuff. I don't understand. So I'm going to go to the Ignite demo. And that's going to be the resource group I've created. Or I can create a new one, obviously, just like when you're doing a VM creation within Azure. I can also switch the VM name around. I can add a prefix or a suffix so I don't have a duplicate one up there. Obviously, this one's in my Azure Stack environment. I'm going to public Azure, so it'll be OK to keep the same name. I'm also going to take that VM down. Next piece, it'll go ahead and look at my networks. I can select which network I want it to be on. It should pull a default for me. Ignite demo is the one I want to use today, default subnet. And I can either have an empty NSG where it creates one based on the VM, just like a new VM creation. Or for me, I actually have an NSG that I've already defined, a set of rules. And definitely I'm not going to go over best practices for network security groups today, but that's where it is. The piece that Chris was talking about. Now, obviously, if I have an on-prem environment, maybe it gets hit by ransomware and I need to restore back to it. Or it gets infected. I'm saying Azure is my new surgical suite. It's my clean room. It's my pristine environment. You don't want to restore the one thing that's already taken down your one infrastructure right up into Azure. Doesn't make sense. So at this point, you can go ahead and select it. Prior to restoring this VM, we're going to go ahead and do all those things that Chris talked about. We're going to go ahead and take your antivirus, put it into a silo, isolate it, find it, clean it, fix it. You've got the three options as before. This is a big piece, just because it keeps the environment clean on both sides. Or at least as much as you can on one side, and definitely does not spread it out. I wish I have a 6- and 8-year-old. If I had this little feature for when they come from school to home, I think we'd be set.
Yeah.
It would be great. We don't. I'm sick for like 4 months a year. I'm going to go ahead and restore reason. It's demo time. So I'm going to go ahead, ready to restore. I've got all my variables in there. Click Finish. And now we're going to go through, it'll restore. So it's going to show me parameters that I had my reason, it was demo time. It'll give me an estimated start-stop time. It'll log everything in between. It's going to put everything in Azure. I'm starting that. One of the things you might not have noticed is I'm actually taking this from one of my backups. It actually was a restore point that was already archived to the cloud. I did forget to mention that one. So I did it from a point, so it's actually pulling from cloud storage. And the next question is, so I'm pulling from a public Azure cloud backup. And I'm restoring it to Azure. Now, where does the data go? Obviously, you're thinking, okay, so you got to pull it all the way back down for Veeam to do this, and then you have to push it all the way back up, which is not true, because I can use a proxy up in Azure where it goes from blob storage directly restored to Azure. That data does not egress that data center, as long as it's in the same data center. And my storage account was East US. Now, if it was in 2, you might get some egress, or somewhere across the world, you'll get that. But the fact that it was sitting up there, it started going.
So I'm looking at the time. It's taken you 4 minutes to this point to create the Azure account, create the virtual machine in Azure, the container that you're using to restore to, identify the store, run the restore wizard, and now I'm assuming, how long are we going to be before it's done?
Probably 15, 20 minutes at
15 more minutes. So we look from a Veeam perspective at sub 15-minute RPO and RTO times. Now we're talking about restoring from Azure archives into Azure environments and maintaining connectivity in sub 15-minute RPO and RTO times. You have the capability to go in and really make an effective use of Azure as a restore point for your environment, for virtual machines or physical machines. I mean, you saw it works with Linux, works with Windows machines, works equally as effective if we have VMware as the source for the virtual machine to do the restoration in Azure. So lots of neat concepts associated with this idea of restore for Azure. Let's talk about software as a service.
Thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Just one quick thing, because I always have, I can't leave a presentation without talking about PowerShell.
Oh, we've got to do that. Yep.
I'm a big proponent of PowerShell. I live, eat, breathe it, and everything on the back end. So we look at if you know about PowerShell with Veeam, everything backing what I just did today has a PowerShell back into it. So you can actually script everything I just showed you, from creation from earlier today to now, which means now if I have an automated failover and I have a plan where I say, this site went down, it has 10 VMs, now I need to go to Azure, I can have an action plan that does this via PowerShell, puts all those 10 VMs up there without me having to explain through it. Because you said, how quickly did it take? It took me 4 minutes, but I was talking you through it. If I just click it, it starts that process almost immediately.
Yep.
That's one of the things I love about PowerShell, because we can do that. And maybe you're using Azure Automation, which is my new favorite toy to play with. Obviously, because then that one's fine. You can look at multi-sites. Maybe I had ransomware. It took out 3 different robo offices. I can say, 1, 2, 3, here's the parameters, 15 VMs, 15 VMs. Everything's up there. But actually going up there didn't count because I already had most of my data in Azure. So it's Azure to Azure up and running, and we're still looking at a pretty quick recovery time.
So Matt threw out Veeam Automation there for you. When's that available?
So basically, if you're using Azure Automation, or I call it a Palace way too much orchestrator, all this happens today. You can do all this right now with the product. And you can make it to your runbooks. We also have a couple products. I'm not sure if Chris will cover them. We have the Veeam Availability Orchestrator, which that's one of Chris's favorite things. So I'll let him talk to that one a little bit more. I like the PowerShell stuff. I'm very manual, like scripting a lot. He doesn't, so he likes the stuff that's nice and point and click and pretty.
Yep, and the tools for Veeam orchestration are exceptional. A guy like me who, not that I can't do PowerShell, I can, but I love the elegance of point, click, and structure runbook style operations through a Veeam console. And I think, frankly, that many of our small business customers especially may have a one-stop shop where their IT professional is not a PowerShell expert. He's got to pick up the tools that are available and use the graphical interface. And for orchestration, yeah, Veeam Orchestrator is exceptional, just exceptional.
We call those search engine PowerShellers.
Ah, that is wrong. I can find how to write any PowerShell piece of code. I just ask Siri, hey Siri, how do I do that in PowerShell? She knows. Let's talk about something called the Office 365 Shared Responsibility Model. Before we go any further, this is not something of my creation. This is a Microsoft model It is available for you to view on the Office 365 Trust Center. Every time I present this, someone will come up to me and say, I love the Office 365 shared responsibility model. How does Microsoft feel about that? And I say, they feel great about it because it's their model. So please, as I review it, don't think that I'm reviewing this for self-serving purposes. I am not. This is the Microsoft model. I simply present it to you because it is appropriate. When we talk about shared responsibility, Microsoft's primary responsibility for your data in their cloud is to maintain the global infrastructure and the uptime of the Office 365 cloud service. That is their job. Your job with Office 365 data is access and control of your data residing in Office 365. So if I ask the question, whose job is it to back up your data in an O365 environment? What do you say? It's yours. Now that shouldn't come as any shock to you because whose job is it to back up your data in an on-premises environment? It's yours. The key here is it's your data. And the sovereign owner of the data has the responsibility to protect it. And that will stay the same in a software as a service environment, a platform as a service environment, an infrastructure as a services environment, or in your on-premises networks. So when we talk about Office 365, before we go any further, please note that it is the customer's responsibility to protect the data. That means that supporting technologies like Office 365 data replication will still be offered by Microsoft. Because Microsoft says, hey, we will geographically replicate your data to 3 different geographically dispersed data center, does that mean that you no longer have the responsibility for its backup? No, you still have the same responsibility. And in fact, when we talk about Microsoft, they're adding supporting technologies. They have a recycle bin. I totally understand. They maintain that data for 30 days. But the recycle bin is not a backup and restore strategy for Office 365. Instead, a customer has a responsibility to come up with their own O365 backup and restore strategies. What does this mean? If you look at Microsoft's website, they provide infrastructure level security. That means physical security, logical security, application level, and user admin control. The customer provides control over accidental deletion, malicious insiders, employee retaliation, evidence tampering. The customer provides that. Microsoft does not. What that means, if I give you the real world scenario, it is theoretically possible, it's more than theoretically possible, it's functionally possible for a ransomware attack to be mounted against a mailbox in your Office 365 environment. If that occurs, whose responsibility is it? It's yours. Microsoft offers no point-in-time recovery for Office 365 environments. Someone hacks your SharePoint server, deletes all the data off your internal company blogs, it's your responsibility to get it back. Microsoft may have a duplicate copy, and they will provide it for you, at which time you will get to provide its structure and try and recover it to your environment, which will likely take days. Or you could use Veeam's tools and take minutes. So there is a heavy convenience factor associated with using tools like Veeam Backup for Office 365. In the event of a ransomware attack where your data is encrypted, will the 3 copies that Microsoft keeps for you be of any benefit? No, because you'll now have 3 encrypted copies of your data, not just 1. So please, as you look at Office 365, those of you taking pictures, the slide deck will be available for you too. You're welcome to use it. In fact, I'll encourage you to please use the information that we're sharing with you. Your role as the data owner is to answer your company's requirements for regulatory compliance and restoration capabilities with O365. I apologize for putting the heavy conversation and business responsibility your way, but you have to limit access control of your data. You have to bridge the retention policy gaps. There are security vulnerabilities in O365 environments, just like there are in on-premises ones, and you absolutely have regulatory exposure. Let's talk a little bit of detail about the Office 365 tools and how Veeam Backup for Office 365 will actually operate. This tool operates independent of our Veeam Backup and Replication suite. We do that on purpose. We want the customer to be able to pick and choose what tools they want to use in their environments. In a software as a service environment, traditionally we do subscription-based tools, and this is no different. As a company, you'll buy subscriptions for the O365 licenses in your organization. Many companies will provide subscriptions on a per Office suite product. So you may buy a subscription for the Exchange components, for the SharePoint components, for the OneDrive components. At Veeam, we don't do that. It's a single license. That license covers all of the components of O365. You can see from example by diagram, your ability to back up that data is limited only to your imagination. You could back up the data and keep the initial copy in Microsoft Azure, which makes great sense to me because I know that that's as close as possible to its source. Then you could make additional archive copies and keep them on premises, which is a great idea. You have responsibility for access to your Office 365 data, which means that you have to take into account network outage as a potential failure. Veeam Backup for O365 does let you recover that data back to your on-premises environment. If we were talking about Exchange, for example, mailboxes can be recovered or restored back to Office 365 or to a running Exchange environment in an on-premises location. The architecture, I told you, has been expanded in our version 2 product. We use this architecture. Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365 server location acts as a collector and management tool for all of the information, and then we extend that functionality out through multiple proxy servers and multiple repositories. I told you that our largest implementation now was approaching 15,000 seats. Our expectation is that we can exceed that dramatically in terms of size. We just haven't had a customer take it larger than 15,000 seats. We'll use multiple repositories. Notice that each proxy server may have a single repository. You might associate multiple repositories with that proxy server. We have several managed service providers who've come to us and said, hey, can I offer these services to my clients? Could I use multi-tenancy in conjunction with the architecture associated with Office 365? And the answer is yes, you can. So this works both in your own internal environments, if you're a large organization or a small organization. The architecture allows you to expand or contract to meet your needs. People ask all the time, what kind of ports do I need open in order for this to operate? You'll notice that it's very simple. Exchange Web Services, port 80, port 443, nothing outlandish or out of the ordinary. Your firewall stays secure as well.
You did notice there was PowerShell support.
Of course there is PowerShell support, so everything can be done.
RESTful APIs where you can query those, you can go at it.
If you would like to see a really cool demo, and if you would like to get access to Beta 2 of the Update 4 files, which will come out here in the next week or so, stop by and see our engineers down at our booth. We don't bring marketing people, we bring engineers. We want you to be able to ask technical questions and get technical answers. The demonstrations around RESTful API and PowerShell support with O365 are exceptional. Yeah, go and watch them. Let's look at summary. So we've talked about enabling backup to Azure. We've talked about protecting O365. We've spent some time on protecting your Microsoft Azure VMs. Our tagline here is 10 times savings on archiving in Azure Blob, and you can see where that comes from. 2 steps to restoring any backup to Azure and to Azure Stack. We have about 6.5 minutes left. We always try and leave time for question and answers. So let's bring up our Ask Me Almost Anything slide, and we'll open things up for you all to ask questions. And we'll take about 5 minutes or so to do that, and then we'll finish up together. What is it that we can share with you? A question right here. We can back up SharePoint and OneDrive today. That's a great question. Over here.
Yep, absolutely. So when we look at the disks themselves, you can select which disks you want to put up there. Once they're up there, you can resize them. Currently, we don't support managed disks in the restore yet. That's something we're actually working with the team to give a lot more options for. And I completely understand the concept behind that, because that's one of the first things I said. If I have a 4 terabyte disk, how does it go up there?
Yeah.
But that's something we're working with the teams to have more options. So obviously, we want to get to the locations first. When we look at Azure Stack and having parity with Azure, Azure Stack's just a little bit behind on the APIs, and we want to keep those similar. But as those move into both those environments, we'll have support for it.
Question over here. I don't know if Matt?
I mean,
try?
From our perspective, when we use the file system, everything from an account perspective, the server itself, it's secure. We're using a lot of Windows calls, so it's just a Windows box. Where if you encrypt that server, maybe some of the BitLurker stuff where we go through those items.
Yeah.
But we're going to have our own encryption, and if the files are encrypted, as long as the accounts have access to read that, they'll be able to do that today. We work on that Windows framework.
I saw one more hand over here. Yes.
You were showing your, we started with the antivirus. Mm-hmm. It said integrated antivirus. Is that like the BBR server what we have installed, or is that part of it?
So with that, we're going to be partnering with multiple AV vendors. Obviously, we know we're not getting into the antivirus business. We like the data management business. It's a good start for us. So as we go through, we're going to have an option where you can have any antivirus vendor you want. So basically, we create the sandbox, isolate everything, and then we'll have some runtimes that basically say, antivirus vendor X goes ahead and scans that with either a command line or a script or embedded integration to make sure we can have multiple vendors out there. On the alliance side, as you notice, I haven't said any one vendor, because my goal is to support all of them. As soon as this feature came out, they said, Matt, you own the antivirus? And I go, excuse me? So I said, awesome. And I said, why does Alliances own it? They go, because we want all of them.
Yep. I saw a hand back here. Go ahead.
So with Veeam availability orchestrated, we have to have a production site and a DR site, or you can have multi-production sites and one DR site, correct?
Yes.
We're a customer of VAO now. We have production and DR total, but we want to start moving to Azure. Are we going to have to build another VAO setup in order to go there, or can we integrate Azure? Does that technically count as a second DR site? Do we need a VAO server?
That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer. Matt, do you know offhand?
So currently, with VIO and Azure, it's interesting, because obviously we want to use everything natively. Right now, with VIO, I think we only support VMware at the time for the infrastructure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and so as we look at how to fail over, our first step for us is direct restore to Azure. And that's why we had the PowerShell back. That's why I like PowerShell. So we haven't fully implemented the cloud into our VIO. When I go back to version 1, version 2, and how quickly we move with new technologies, that sits into that window that I like to see of it's newer, and that's the type of feedback we want to see. Either through the forums or you talking with us. Obviously, you're talking with us now, so that's a mental note I just took. But what is the next step for us? Because obviously, scheduled failover or planned failover, or there's an emergency disaster failover into a public cloud is a perfect use case. So now that we're there, we're starting to work with object storage. We're doing direct restores to it. That's kind of an evolution of how we look through that process. And as you went through that model earlier with the 5 steps, obviously that's 1 or 2 step. Step 1, step 2 is where we're at right now with the technology we presented today. Step 3, 4, 5 is where we're going.
Yep. So I think what he's saying there is we'd probably create an additional today. In the future, we'd like to see those all integrated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I told you at the beginning, we're just getting started. We really are. It's hard to believe with the amazing things that we already do that we're still just on the early stages and doing a lot of our development. We always start on time. We always finish on time. And I've got about 45 seconds left. Thank you for spending 75 minutes with us. Hopefully you found some great insights and understanding about what we might do together as a customer and a software provider to make availability a great option in your environment. We have 3 calls to action for you. Please don't take our word for it. Try this all for yourselves. If you'll go down and visit with our SEs, let them know that you're interested in getting into our Beta 2. They'll help you with that process. Work with our engineers. We're at booth number 800. We also have a whole bunch of resources that we'll attach to this deck so that you can download everything from white papers, solution briefs, success stories, webinar recordings, etc., associated with the topics that we've talked about today and more about Veeam. I appreciate you spending some time with us. Matt, you want the last word?
So if you forget our booth number, it's 1-800-BACKUP. It's really easy to think about. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.